Chase is a proud partner of the Golden State Warriors, and Chase cardholders score more at Chase Center. Access in-arena and online discounts at the Warriors shop, Chase lounges before select concerts and Warriors games, in-app benefits, eatery discounts, advanced access to tickets, and preferred seating when you use your Chase card. See more cardholder perks at chase.com/Chase Center. Restrictions and limitations apply. Deposit and credit card products provided by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
Hot wings, hot and sour soup, and a hot fudge sundae. Your neighbor's DoorDash order for Golden State Warriors game days has gotten superstitiously specific. But hey, every order on DoorDash is a win for local businesses and Dashers. And if you're superstitious, it just might put the Warriors on a hot streak too.
Deep three on the way. Heat check.
Score one for the neighborhood on game day with DoorDash.
Heat check. Three.
Official partner of the Golden State Warriors.
What makes a buzzer beater so great? The energy, the spontaneity, the choice to just go for it. Last-second flight changes aren't so different. Whether it's pulling an all-nighter, checking off a bucket list item, or extending your trip for some R&R. At United, we think last-second calls are yours to make. That's why we don't charge change fees, ever. This is what an airline looks like when good leads the way. United is proud to be the official airline of the Golden State Warriors. Exceptions apply for certain international flights. Forever applies to flights within the U.S. and between the U.S. and Mexico or the Caribbean.
Hey, Stephen Curry, it's game day, and you know what that means.
That you're going to talk like an announcer all day long?
Yes, and fans get 10% cash back in arena or online at Warriors Shop by using Rakuten.
That is pretty exciting.
Cash back on Warriors gear is exciting, Stephen Curry.
I think they know it's me.
Good point. We just need to tell them the website.
Rakuten.com/Warriors. RAKUTEN.com/Warriors.
One winning team deserves another. That's why the Warriors have teamed up with Newfront. As their official employee benefits consultant, Newfront is helping the Warriors achieve their goals off the court so they can focus on being champions on the court. Newfront is not just changing the insurance game, they're changing the way companies can ensure their team is healthy, happy, and motivated, because that's the secret to success. Work, love, play like a Warrior. That's the Newfront way.
Been listening to the Golden State Warriors audio network,
Presented by United Airlines.
This has been a presentation of Odyssey Sports. For even more coverage of your team, download the free Odyssey app and listen to your favorite stations, shows, and podcasts.
That's a wrap.
Yo, that's a wrap. It was an amazing experience. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope they got some laughs, some good entertainment.
This is Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Hayes waiting, trying to throw it in, gets it into Bay, turns and fires, it's up, it's good! He hit it at the buzzer, a three-point shot falling backwards, went up and in, the Pistons mob him as they head to the locker room, and Detroit has won. My goodness.
Yeah, and a tough one for the Warriors tonight inside Chase Center as the 5-game home winning streak comes to an end. And the Warriors wind up taking an L tonight at the hands of the NBA worst Detroit Pistons, although they didn't play like it tonight against the Warriors by any stretch. But Detroit comes in, gets their 11th win of the season. 122-119 is the final. We welcome you inside Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. John Dickinson with you for the next hour or so. 888-957-9570. That's 888-957-9570. The phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text as we react to this one, and a tough one, as I mentioned here right off the top, as the Warriors find themselves on a night of really missed opportunities. Frankly, the Warriors had a chance to get 3 games over 500 for the first time this season. Hard to believe as we sit here January the 4th, but the Warriors missed that shot to get to 21-18, so they dip back to 20-19, and they find themselves now 5-1 on this 6-game home, or on the 6th game of this homestand with 2 games to go. So still, Warriors have a shot to win Saturday against Orlando. They can win against Phoenix on Tuesday, But I think the overarching theme of the night for this one, and just setting the show up, is the Warriors didn't play a winning game tonight. They got down 34-26 into the first quarter. They had some bad turnovers. They took some bad shots. And the athleticism and the length, I thought, of the Pistons really bothered the Warriors in this game. And it felt like the theme of the night, really, from the end of that first quarter where the Pistons had an 8-point lead, was the Warriors would chip away and get it to a 1 or a 2-point game, and then the Pistons would get on a 6-7 point run of their own. It would go right back up to 8. And so it would go Pistons 8, Warriors cut it to 2 or 1, and then the Pistons push it right back up to 8 or 10. And it felt like this happened 3, 4, 5 different times throughout the course of the night. And I think fatigue probably caught up with the Warriors a little bit, this being the sixth game of the homestand, basically in a week and a half. The double overtime game against Atlanta that wound up being a win here a couple of nights ago. I think you're still, at least some of the Warrior players are probably dealing with that. It probably would have helped to have Draymond Green on the floor in the final possession, although it looked like the Warriors did have it pretty well defended, almost a 5-second call as well, with Saddiq Bey able to catch that inbounds and a little bit of a late switch there, and Bey is able to hit that shot, get it off and hit it. Usually that shot doesn't necessarily go in, but tonight it did, and it wiped away the heroics from Klay Thompson in this one. As Klay, I thought, really tried to save the Warriors in this game and save himself from one of his poorer games of late. He had been on a tear here on this homestand, and really 3-4 straight games that he's played in have just been monster affairs for Klay Thompson. And Klay on a night where you look up at the end of the third quarter and he's 5 of 15 and he's only got 13 points and he hasn't knocked down a 3. But with the game hanging in the balance, Klay Thompson, everything he could to help try and put the Warriors over the top in this one. 17 of what wound up being his team high and game high 30 coming in the fourth quarter, and Klay Thompson knocked down 6 of 8 in the frame, 3 of 5 from 3, hit the big game tying 3. Anthony Lamb able to get the ball to him in that instance, and really the vibe at that point was, hey, this game's going to overtime, just like Monday night's game is going to overtime, and the Warriors keep finding ways, even though it's not easy, even against some of the lesser teams in the NBA, they're fighting and scratching and clawing and putting themselves in a position to where they can steal some of these games late. And it really, at that moment, felt like this is going to be another one in what has been a long line of real, great, gritty Warriors wins. But eventually, if you play close games with a shorthanded roster, my grand takeaway is you're going to get got. And whether it was Charlotte that almost got him, whether it was Utah or Portland that almost got him late, Atlanta probably thought 2 or 3 times that they had a win in the bag, and the Warriors just kept coming and coming and coming and couldn't quite get over the hump as they get beat at the end there on a hell of a shot by Bey, kind of a fluky shot by Bey. But I just keep coming back to, and I throw this out there a lot here on 95.7 The Game. You can look at really a game. You play a winning game or a losing game. And I think you could make the case tonight, and Steve Kerr addressed this in his post-game press conference, which we will have for you coming up here on 95.7 The Game. The simple fact that the Warriors didn't play the Pistons deserve to win this game, like flat out. The Warriors did not play a winning game for most of the night. And if you just watched it start to finish and said who was the better team for more minutes in this game, on this night it would have been the Pistons, who wind up walking out of Chase Center with their 11th win in 41 games as they reached the halfway mark. And 2 of those 11, bad look for the Warriors, even shorthanded tonight, but 2 of those 11 wins that the Pistons have and that NBA worst record have come against the Warriors as they beat them back in Detroit in late October in a game where the Warriors were mostly healthy. So too much to overcome tonight, too much to ask for the Warriors to be able to overcome it again after overcoming against Charlotte and Portland and Utah and all these other games. They were able to put Memphis away in that game back on Christmas. And I think the more you're going to play games like this, eventually, it's why I said really for the last week and a half, 2 weeks, every time we would come on and we would celebrate on the station the Warriors with another rabbit out of the hat kind of a victory, and the path would start to go down the road of, oh, this team's going to go 8-0. They're going to go 8-0. They're going to go 7-1. And yes, while that very much was on the table and still is 7-1 on the table with Orlando and Phoenix coming in, none of these games are going to be easy. Each of them were their own entity, and you start taking even more players away than had been anticipated. I think that the Warriors thought they were going to be getting some reinforcements by now in the form of Andrew Wiggins and maybe JaMychal Green, Jonathan Kuminga's another key cog that was taken away, and you really could have used Jonathan Kuminga and his athleticism in this game tonight against the Pistons, who have a lot of size, a lot of toughness, a lot of just, a lot of physicality on display. So you see Draymond Green get caught up a little bit in that with Isaiah Stewart, kind of a weak technical, I thought, to be a double technical. But anytime players get mixed up, and Isaiah Stewart has got a little bit of a history of being a wants-to-fight guy. Draymond's got his history of just being Draymond. And when two players get mixed up, it really doesn't matter if one is trying to tell the other one to calm down or to be cool or whatever. It often, especially when it has to go to video review, ends up being a double tech. And the unfortunate part for Draymond tonight, as he now sits at 12 technical fouls for the season on his ledger, is you don't pick up the early one to put yourself in position where a cheap, mixing it up with somebody else can get you thrown out of the game. Now, in a playoff game, do the officials understand that Draymond's got the technical already in his back pocket? Maybe they don't throw him out. Maybe that alters the call. I think that's always something that can be debated. But the bottom line is, if you've got one technical, you're at the mercy of some kind of unforeseen type situation that can get you thrown out of a game, and that's exactly what happened for Draymond tonight. 888-957-9570. Hell of a night for Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb. I thought both of those players, they go for 35 combined. Anthony Lamb and Jerome really saved the Warriors, prevented this game from being uglier sooner. You had Jordan Poole again with his 24, although not as efficient, and it came with a costly couple of turnovers, especially the one there in the final minute. But you add it all up, and I think while it is a frustrating night for Warrior fans and a frustrating night for the Warriors, I think everybody would have signed up for 5-1 through the first 6 games of this homestand. You wouldn't have thought the Pistons after a 5-0 start would be the one, but at this point, in some ways, it almost doesn't matter, because now we do know that Andrew Wiggins and Steph Curry and others are going to be on the way shortly. So 888-957-9570. Let's get it rolling here on Warriors Wrap-Up. Hope everybody's having a safe night in dealing with the rain and the wind. And we'll get it started here with David in the Oakland Hills on 95.7 The Game. What's going on tonight, David? You're on Warriors Wrap-Up.
Hey, JD. How you doing?
Good, man. How are you tonight?
Okay, we're still dry on my side of Montclair, but, power outages are coming.
Yeah, it's coming for everybody at some point here over the next couple of hours and over the next 24 hours, I suppose. But, what'd you think of the game? Yeah. What's on your mind as far as that goes?
Well, listen, JD, the main thing I want to say is I feel like someone in the Warriors organization needs to tell Jordan Poole that his handle is not good enough to be doing the Curly Neal over-dribbling hero ball nonsense. He just, we see it so often. His handle is not tight enough to do that, and he needs to just keep the ball moving.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point. And look, I think tonight is a night, and thanks for the call, David, where, Jordan Poole, you're not in the position that you're in to win this game late if it's not for a couple of big buckets from Jordan Poole. But at the same time, you're also counting on Jordan Poole on a night like tonight to be your 2 or to be your 1A in your pecking order. And, at this point, he's still a young player that has some development to go. I mean, Jordan Poole, for all of the things that he is, and he really is a talented offensive player, he's not a superstar. And I think he's been put in some positions here because of these injuries and had some success and helped the Warriors to the point where they're 5-1 in this homestand. But, superstars turn the ball over down the stretch in a lot of big games, and he's not quite a superstar. So I think some of it does come from the learning curve aspect of it. And I think at times Poole, he rushes a little bit. He gets twisted. He just, I think at that point he just makes himself more vulnerable. Sometimes his footwork gets twisted up a little bit. Sometimes the dribble is a little bit loose. Whatever it is, if the ball's in his hands at volume in a lot of these situations, he is somebody that's going to be vulnerable to being turnover prone. And right now, based on the way the Warriors are at, they really had two players that they wanted the ball to be, in their hands. And I think that's what, it was either Klay or Poole, but Klay's not really a handler in terms of, running, go get it at the top of the key and isolate him, as the Warriors actually did a little bit against Atlanta on Monday night. But yeah, I mean, Poole's he's vulnerable. But I also think we have to slow our roll in holding Poole just because Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins are out, kind of holding him to the superstar standard, when the reality is that's not what he should be asked to be doing, on a night in, night out basis. But frustrating nonetheless, and frustrating the timing of tonight's turnover versus the 6 the other night, and the fact that top to bottom, while he's helped them a lot, and it feels like his game's getting rolling here over the course of the last couple of weeks, he hasn't exactly had the best season overall compared to the way last year ended, and then getting the big payday, which obviously is going to add more eyes and more attention and more belief that you have to be playing at a higher level consistently, especially in the big moments. Let's keep it moving on the phone lines. 888-957-9570. That's where Jim in Napa steps in here on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Jim.
Hey, JD. Can you hear me?
Hey, what's going on, man? Yep, loud and clear. How are you? Hope you're staying dry.
The last caller stole my thunder, but I was going to talk about Jordan Poole too, and I agree with everything you said about giving him some slack, even though he does make horrendous turnovers. But the other point I had was, you think Mr. Green will ever learn to not get thrown out in critical times when we really need him to?
Yeah, thanks for the call. I mean, it has, tonight was not the first time. Is probably the best way to say it, and frankly, tonight will not be the last time. Whether it's game a couple years ago in Charlotte, obviously the big one is the situation in the finals in 2016, and I think really the overarching takeaway for me as far as Draymond and the technicals go, and he is up to 12, by the way, for the season. A little bit before the halfway mark. Now, 16 gets you a one-game suspension for the regular season, and then every other gets you another game suspension. So if you get 16, you get suspended. If you get 18, you get suspended again. If you get to 20, you get suspended again after that. So, but Draymond, I think he's ended up with 16 once, and there's no carryover to the playoffs. So if you end up with 16, it starts over again. There's a lower threshold in the playoffs. I think if you get to 6 in the playoffs, you get 6 or 7 in the playoffs. I forget the number. We'll get it for you by April. But 6 or 7 in the playoffs, it's a new scorecard, and at that point you get to start over. But you can be suspended for playoff games as well for technical fouls and for flagrant fouls. Obviously, that's what ended up getting Draymond suspended for Game 5 of the finals back in 2016. So I know there's probably not a concern about Draymond, although I think this is the quickest he's ever gotten to 12, not even halfway through the season. But if he's got to miss a game in the regular season, the Warriors are going to have to deal with that. But he's also shown an ability to cool it and not get to that point where he's going to miss a game and he puts himself in a position to where maybe it's a rather important game down the stretch in a regular season. So that being said, I think as far as tonight goes, you don't want to get the early frustration arguing with the official on a call technical, because then anything happens and you put yourself at the mercy of whether a referee wants to call a double technical foul on a skirmish if you end up mixing it up with another player who's got a little bit of a history of wanting to get into a skirmish with you. And Isaiah Stewart does have that kind of reputation himself. So it's interesting, but yeah, Draymond, he's got to be more careful, and I understand it. If you're frustrated about Draymond at the end of that game, maybe the Warriors win the game, maybe they get a stop down the stretch with Draymond. Maybe he completely blows up the Sadiq Bey three. There, maybe the Warriors get another stop, and Klay Thompson's three winds up putting them ahead because they were able to get another stop there in the final minute. At that particular point in time. So definitely something to discuss here tonight on Warriors Wrap-Up. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. It's John Dickinson here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. We'll go ahead and pause here. We'll come back. We'll hear from Steve Kerr. We'll hear from others from downstairs in the press conference room as the Warriors take a tough one tonight, 122-119, and you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game.
Attend the largest sale of the year, the Mega RV Show and Sale at Cordelia RV Center, January 6th through the 16th. 10-plus acres of new and used RVs. Receive a $1,000 gas credit on all 2022 models. Cordelia RV Center in Fairfield. Free parking and admission.
Shop limited-time deals at the Truckload event at Lowe's, happening now. Save big on your favorites across the store. During this event, get up to 50% off select tools and accessories. Plus, find the perfect floor tile for your home for less. Get up to 50% off select styles while you can. Head to your local Lowe's store or visit Lowes.com to shop the Truckload event today. Valid 12/29 through 1/25 while supplies last. Selection varies by location. See Lowes.com for details. Discount taken at time of purchase.
Hey guys, this is Keenan Thompson. I have a problem with you. Yes, you. None of y'all told me that AutoTrader has millions of new and used cars that I can shop from home. I thought we were friends. I put smiles on your face, but I'm not smiling. No one told me that with AutoTrader, a dealer can deliver cars to my home or that I could shop by price on AutoTrader. No one. Consider this friendship that you just learned we had officially over. Finally, it's easy. AutoTrader.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers. It's good news for all Americans who owe back taxes to the IRS or state and struggling to pay them back. The IRS is now making it easier to settle delinquent tax problems through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative, due to the financial hardship many are facing in this current economic downturn. Qualifying for this program will settle your delinquent tax problem, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. For this free information and to see if you qualify, call the hotline at the Tax Hardship Center by dialing 800-411-6406. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes and cannot afford to pay them, there's no need to worry. You may now qualify to settle your delinquent tax problem and save thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-411-6406. 800-411-6406. That's 800-411-6406.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you have neuropathy? Are you experiencing numbness, tingling, and pain that just won't stop? Are you taking dangerous drugs that have serious side effects and never fix the pain? If so, please listen to this message. Neuropathy is a serious, progressive condition that only gets worse if not treated properly. Call SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE to get back to doing the things you want to do. There is no drug, exercise, or surgery that can heal nerves. Don't wait until your condition gets worse and stops you from living your life fully. SF Bay Wellness has a time-tested, proven track record of helping hundreds of patients to improve and reverse their neuropathy. If you're ready to regain your independence. Contact SF Bay Wellness at 844-94-NERVE. Call now for your $99 neuropathy special and receive a personal treatment plan that is tailored to your needs. Call 844-94-NERVE. That's 844-94-NERVE and start to enjoy life again.
Thank you to all of the business owners who kept people employed during the pandemic. For all you've done, you may be eligible to claim the Employee Retention Tax Credit, a payroll tax refund from the United States Treasury Department, applicable to businesses who kept employees on payroll during the pandemic. The window is closing to claim your refund. Contact Paychex to see if you qualify. Paychex is proud to have helped more than 45,000 businesses secure over $9.2 billion in ERTC claims, an average of $190,000 per business. 50 years and thousands of experts in HR, payroll, benefits, and insurance. You may be eligible to claim the Employee Retention Tax Credit, a payroll tax refund from the United States Treasury Department, applicable to businesses who kept employees on payroll during the pandemic. The window is closing to claim your refund. Contact Paychex to see if you qualify. Visit paychex.com/ERTC to find out how Paychex can help you get additional cash into your business. Paychex.com/ERTC. Paychex.com/ERTC.
Every small business owner knows business happens everywhere. The office, the warehouse, or on the road. And no matter where it takes you, there's one solution to help your business thrive. Comcast Business Complete Connectivity. It's the largest, fastest, reliable network with advanced gig speed Wi-Fi and cyber threat protection in one solution. Get started for just $49.99 a month. Plus, add Comcast Business Mobile and you can save up to 60% a year on your wireless bill. And ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card.
Flight 291 is now aboard.
Yep, you're going places. And when you get there, be ready to do business. The complete connectivity solution from the company that powers more small businesses than any other provider. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 2/21/2023. Restrictions apply. Requires EcoBill and AutoPay. New 50 megabits per second internet and Comcast Business Security Edge customers only. Equipment taxes and fees extra. After 12 months, regular rates apply. Gig internet required for gig Wi-Fi. Mobile Savings compares pricing of top 3 carriers.
Steiny and Guru host The Executive Show, a weekly interview with Bob Myers and Zaza Pachulia.
When we went to the Hamptons to meet with Kevin, we had a presentation, and I'm telling you guys the truth. The presentation, we stopped it 10 minutes in. Because if you know Kevin at all, Kevin was kind of looking around going, I don't need to see this stuff.
Brought to you by Yellow Sack. Try a dumpster bag for easy waste removal. Less mess, reduce stress. Budget friendly, clean freely. Call 833-3YELLOW or go to yellowsack.com.
Looney up top. Klay comes back. They throw it for Lamb on the right side. The Klay who relocates for a 3-look. He got it with 1 second to go. What a play. Steve Kerr and his staff drew up an unbelievable play there. And Klay Thompson got a wide open look. We're tied with 1 second to go. Tied at 119.
Now back to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, it was the Klay Thompson show down the stretch for the Warriors, 17 of his 30 coming in the fourth quarter, and Klay Thompson hit a couple of free throws with the Warriors down 5 at 117-112. Klay then made it 117-116 on the drive, and after the Pistons made it 119-116, Klay Thompson with the three-pointer that tied it up at 119. All big plays from Klay Thompson on a night where he really didn't shoot it all that well through the first 3 quarters, but wound up putting the Warriors in a spot where it looked like this game was headed to overtime. But Sadiq Bey with the answer on what looked like it could have been maybe a 5-second call. It's really probably got to be almost 6 seconds to really get the 5-second call, but able to get the ball into Bey, and Bey's able to hit the 3 as the Warriors wind up losing this one 122-119. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570, the phone number to give me a call or shoot me a text here, as we'll be with you until 11 o'clock. Missed opportunity night for the Warriors, really, on the one hand, as they had a shot to get to 3 over 500 for the first time this season. That would have been their high water mark had they gotten to 21-18. And then you look at the standings right now in the Western Conference. The loss for the Warriors, they stay at 9th now, tied for 8th, really, with the Suns, as the Suns have lost 4 in a row. They got beat again. So Phoenix lost in Cleveland late, 90-88. And so the Suns and the Warriors have the exact same record now at 20-19. The Blazers, they got beat tonight, so they are 19-18. The Clippers are 21-18 now. And the Kings got beat by the Hawks late in Sacramento tonight. So you look at the Warriors. The Warriors could have been all the way back. They could have been fifth with the win. If they were able to win this game, they would be tied with Sacramento for fifth, and only Dallas, the Pelicans, Grizzlies, and Nuggets ahead of them with a couple of days off. And it just felt often tonight like the Warriors were a little fatigued, a step slow, hurt by what frankly was a bad matchup in terms of just type of players. When you look at the Pistons, and the Pistons typically don't shoot the three ball well, but they hit 16-36 in this game tonight. So a rare night where the Warriors get out hit from three. And I thought the Warriors tried to have the energy and the edge that they've had in some of these other games, but it just was not as effective because of the athleticism and length advantage that the Pistons had over them. And so it wasn't necessarily an effort deal, but just a not as much in the tank deal for the Warriors. Draymond gets ejected. We could talk about that. Mixed it up with Stewart after he got the early one. So that's now 12 technical fouls for Draymond Green. And the theme of the night for the Warriors just got down 8, would catch up, would get back down 8, would tie it up, get within 1 or 2, get back down 8. Seemed like they were trying to climb that uphill battle throughout the entire game. And Jordan Poole, tough night for him in terms of efficiency, tough night for him in terms of the critical turnover late. And it was a night where Klay Thompson almost bailed the Warriors out, along with Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb. Just Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb prevented this from being a real ugly, flat night, I think, for the Warriors as they lose to the Pistons. Pistons get win number 11, so they are 11-30. They came in with the worst record in the NBA, and they wind up leaving now by passing Charlotte, who lost tonight. So the Pistons now 11-30. That is the second worst record in the NBA. I guess the Rockets, they also passed the Rockets tonight as well, who have now lost 5 in a row. So tough one for the Warriors. They get swept in the season series by Detroit, and it's unfortunate when you look at this one that the Warriors, it just felt like if they could get through this one and get a couple of days off to reset and maybe get Andrew Wiggins back. Good news on the Steph Curry front, as far as it sounds like Bob Myers on with Steiny and Guru earlier today here on 95.7 The Game. Sounds like a week from Friday is on the table for Steph when the team's in San Antonio. And so it just, if they could just get one more, it had the chance. And I think it still has a good shot at being 7-1. We'll see. Phoenix is going to be a desperate team. Orlando is a team that has played much better basketball after a pretty atrocious start, and they have some big wins. And not to short shrift Detroit, but the Pistons did win in Denver earlier in the year. They won in Utah early in the year when the Jazz were really hot. I know the Jazz have fallen back down to earth. They won in Minnesota as well. So this is just one of those games where sometimes one of the low teams in the league is able to beat a team with a significantly better record. But you also have to just hold into account the fact that, I mean, this isn't the Warriors tonight. I mean, and to not even have Kuminga, I mean, it's basically a 9-man crew where you're digging into Patrick Baldwin and Moses Moody having to play, Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb playing significant minutes, and then, of course, the starting lineup with DiVincenzo in there as well. I mean, this team's done a hell of a job to get to 5-0 in this homestand going into the game tonight and taking the L. But I think at times you got to take a deep breath, you got to step back, and you got to think, hey, how if the Warriors had to play on a night-in, night-out basis with this exact team that they had to play with tonight, I mean, that team probably wouldn't be on its own a playoff team or even a play-in team at that point. So the team that they put out there tonight is very much within the range, as we've seen with how close some of these games have been, that the Warriors have been able to win down the stretch. This team, talent-wise, very much within the range of the Pistons team that came in. And so, you factor everything else in with that, and the Warriors able to, on a night where they didn't play all that well, but fought, they find themselves coming up just a little bit short on the Saddiq Bey 3. All right, we'll get to some text messages coming up here momentarily, but right now let's head back downstairs here inside Chase Center and hear from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, as he met with the media.
I guess some of Jordan's worst moments this season, you've talked about him kind of being in a rush. I mean, are you seeing that late in some of these games, key possessions? I know tonight obviously kind of seemed like he tripped while he was dribbling. Are you just seeing him kind of be in a rush in key moments?
Yeah, he's also hitting huge shots for us. He had two big jumpers down the stretch, and Jordan's made so many big plays for us and helped us win so many games. But what's great is that everything is a learning experience for him, at this stage of his career, and he's getting a lot of, late game experience. And, he made the one mistake, but like I said, he made two big shots right before that. And I thought really, played well and played hard all game. And I just told the guys how proud I am of them for holding down the fort, these last couple of weeks. Tonight was tough, but given the state of our roster for us to win 5 of these first 6 home games on this stretch and have all these guys fighting and scrapping and clawing night after night, it's been really impressive. And it's put us in a great position, going forward. And we've got reinforcements coming. So it was a tough loss, but like I said, more than anything, I'm just proud of the entire group.
Steve, what were you thinking when Klay hit that 3 to tie it? Maybe the way that play was executed, and then Saddiq Bey responding on the other end.
It was a tough way to lose. It looked like we had covered the play pretty well, and then I'll have to get another look at it. But Saddiq freed himself up there at the last second. Felt like it was almost a 5-second violation, and then he hit. It's one of those shots that usually isn't going to go in, but I also feel like the game rewards the team that maybe plays harder. And I thought our fatigue was a factor, and I thought Detroit played great. They played really hard all game. They were physical. They were all over the glass. Made big shots. Bogdanovich hit the big 3 with 2 seconds on the shot clock when they had the out of bounds under. So they hit big shots, and I thought they deserved to win. They were fantastic tonight.
Stephen, even as you guys were winning games the last 5 games, there were a number of those games where you were playing uphill a lot until the fourth quarter. Tonight, another example, you're playing uphill. What in the first quarter, I think they shot 67%. Was it defense? What was going on in the first quarter that couldn't quite get you guys going?
Yeah, we couldn't get stops. And same thing at the start of the third quarter. I thought we brought some good energy at the start of the third, and they kept hitting shots. They made 16 threes tonight. They're bigs, or those guys are tough. Those young guys, they're athletic, and they got free in the paint several times for buckets. Duran was 8 for 8. Stewart, got free a couple times. So I thought their size and athleticism really hurt us tonight.
Draymond picked up, I think, his 12th technical foul of the season. I know his fire is something that is really important to this team, but is there a concern level with, kind of inching closer and closer to that suspension benchmark?
No, he's never gone over. He knows where the line is. I didn't really see what happened at the end when was it he and Stewart got into it. In my mind, it's like, do we have to call a double technical and eject a guy from the game because 2 guys in a really competitive game in the most competitive basketball league on earth are, oh my, who knew they were going to actually get a little upset with each other? Like, this is the game. It's what people pay to see, like competition at its highest form. So to come out of the timeout, we've already drawn up our play. Draymond's on the floor, and then we got inbound the ball and they tell us Draymond's been ejected. That's a tough one. I haven't experienced that before. I prefer in those situations where, the officials have the awareness that somebody's got a tee. We're not going to kick them out because 2 guys get into a little, yelling match or whatever it was. If it's earned, it's earned. And maybe I'm totally wrong. If I'm wrong, then that's my fault. But I don't really believe there should be double technicals that lead to an ejection for that.
Was that last Klay three I guess, did that go exactly how you designed it with, the pass over the top to Lamb and that screen?
That's, we have a lot of plays that we try, late game. Some of them work, some of them don't. And the guys executed that one really well. And Klay got a good look. And obviously he really got hot late. He started the game slowly, but he really got us going there down the stretch and got a good look. Looney set a great screen and Klay knocked it down.
Yeah, really well executed play by the Warriors there to get the game tied. The screen, the dish from Anthony Lamb to Klay Thompson, and Klay Thompson able to knock that shot down. And you felt the way the Klay's played here over the last week, like that shot was going down. He was in rhythm. He was hot. He had, at that point, 14 in the fourth quarter. That put him up to 17. But the Warriors, unfortunately, they get beat on the Saddiq Bey three with 1 second to go. The Pistons able to throw it in, and he's able to hit it, and they walk out of Chase tonight with a 122-119 win over the Warriors. 888-957-9570. Still time for some phone calls here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Couple of quickie thoughts from Steve Kerr here before we hear from Klay Thompson. Warriors still in a great position. And, we talked before this homestand began, and really I think everybody thought Andrew Wiggins was going to be back by now, and he was cleared, and then obviously with the illness, he had to wind up missing some more time, and we'll see about Saturday when the Magic are in here. If not Saturday, it sounds like there's a pretty good shot he'd be able to play on Tuesday against Phoenix. But with the Warriors 15-18, and coming home at that point, 3 under 500, and you look at the 8-game homestand, it really became a no-excuses kind of a time for the Warriors. They had to get wins. 5 felt almost like the minimum that they would have to get at that point. But even 5-3 in the 8 games, you're below 500 leaving. But even that would have felt, as long as you were getting everybody healthy and Steph Curry back into the fold, that would have felt like it was doable at that particular point in time, right? But 5, to me, it was, to really make a dent, you got to get 6, because that takes you from 3 under to 1 over, and then if you're getting healthy, you feel like the Warriors are going to be able to get it together, and some of the two-way players, the younger players have had a little bit more experience. You fit them in now to a much deeper roster, and you see if they can help you as you vault your way up the Western Conference. The other part is you don't want to get 3-4 games under, because then you're going to be chasing so many teams. It makes it that much more difficult to move your way back up into the play-in tournament, and then out of the play-in portion, hopefully up to 6th, and then eventually I think that the real goal would be to somehow get into a top 4. We'll find out here over the next 3 months if that's something that's legitimately going to be attainable. But the fact that the Warriors have won 5 of the first 6, regardless of how they've done it, and I think with a couple of 50-50 games that you could make the case the Warriors have won maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5, at least 3 of 4 50-50 games on this homestand. You'd take the 750 winning percentage at any juncture in a homestand like this. So tonight is tough, but the Warriors' big picture here, as long as they don't drop the next 2, if they can at least get one of the next 2 or both, they're in a really good spot with Wiggins back in the fold and with Steph Curry obviously having the potential to come back here as soon as maybe that San Antonio game, which tips off the 5-game road trip on January the 13th, which is a week from Friday. Some tough shots as far as, Bogdanovich did hit some big shots, some tough shots. The 16 threes is something I'm going to circle. The athleticism and the size and the length is going to be problematic for the Warriors, but the 16 threes end up being the difference maker on a night where you wouldn't expect, just looking at history and normal numbers, the Pistons to out-hit the Warriors from three-point range, and they did. They out-hit them 16-15, and they shot at a higher clip, 44% from three-point range, and that 1-3 advantage ends up being the difference in the game. A text message I wanted to get to, Xfinity Mobile text line, explain what Draymond's first technical was for. It was arguing with the official. Second quarter, 9-minute mark. He argued, was demonstrative with the official, picked up a technical, and that puts him in a position where I'm with Steve Kerr on the double tech. Like, to me, the double tech has got to be egregious to get somebody kicked out of a game, but it just kind of depends on the reputations of those players and how an official is feeling in the moment the situation was getting away. And I think in tonight's situation, does it happen that way in a playoff game? Maybe not. But in tonight's situation, that meant double technical, and that meant as the Warriors were trying to inbound the ball, as Steve Kerr laid out, Draymond Green was done for the night. Again, I'm with them. Like, you want to see the passion and energy and fire from both teams, and you want to see the best players be able to finish games. But the reality is, don't get the first technical, and then you're not in a position where a cheapie on a double tech gets you thrown out of a game. And the Warriors, there was a minute 24 left, but we've seen Draymond 3-4 different times in this homestand come up with the biggest defensive play of the game in the final minute and be a big reason why the Warriors were able to win some of these games that they have here in the first 5 before tonight. 510, Xfinity Mobile text line. Talking about Jordan Poole, questioning, will Poole ever become a Warriors kind of player? Appears to be, very much a black hole, 510 writes. I'm quoting that. The kind of player, skilled shooter, some assists, but will he ever get the team concept that the Warriors have successfully employed, the texter asks. Kerr says the right things after Poole's mistake-prone games, but I wonder what he's really thinking or what Poole gets during the practice sessions, unwilling to change or correct his errors. I think it's more of just an experience issue. He's a young player. Jordan Poole is still a young player, and he's had a lot of success from being somebody that went from borderline out of the league to in the G League to coming up and becoming a bench player to turning himself into a pseudo-starter with Klay or with Steph out, to helping a team win an NBA championship. And I just think you got to take the good with the bad when it comes to Jordan Poole. And it is frustrating, I think, because a lot of the times it's the same mistakes, it's the same moves. As I mentioned earlier, he tends to get his footwork a little bit twisted up on some of his moves toward the basket. There was a play earlier in that fourth quarter where he essentially made the same move that he turned it over on and ended up hitting a jumper that pulled the Warriors, I think, from 4 down to 2 at that point. And so a lot of the times it's the same moves when they work. They're clean and you love them and they're sweet, but he does get his footwork tangled and his feet tangled at times. His dribble can be a little bit off at times, and he just can't get everything moving in the right direction. But I don't get the impression that he's playing selfishly, intentionally, or isn't a Warriors-type player. He is a differently skilled player than the Warriors have had over their time. But I think that's what makes him valuable to this Warriors team. And again, tonight's also a night where he's being asked to play as if he is the number 1 option or the number 2 option behind Klay Thompson, but the primary ball handler without Curry out and without Wiggins and without others. I mean, you put the ball in Dante DiVincenzo's hands, as a few people on the text line have laid out. Well, Dante DiVincenzo, for maybe being a better ball handler, he's also not somebody that's going to get his own offense in those kinds of situations where it's an isolation type deal, or he's got the ball within the context of a play and he's trying to go and get to the bucket or create for somebody else on his own. Like, you know that Dante DiVincenzo is much less of a threat if you're defending him, which I think makes the team a lot easier to defend as a whole rather than a guy like Jordan Poole. But still, I think you got to take the good with the bad and understand that he's still a young player and can get better and can learn from it. And he's not a superstar. Like, I get it. He's going to be making an average of $30 million a year coming up soon, but he's a sixth man, that's being asked right now because of injury to step into a role. And look, he's helped the Warriors win games. He's helped the Warriors win games, game after game after game. And so you got to take the good with the bad. I think in some ways that's the theme of this homestand, is that it hasn't been perfect. And eventually, if you keep going to that well where it's not going to be perfect, and how could it be with the talent level the Warriors are playing with on a night-in, night-out basis, eventually you're going to get got. And tonight, the Warriors, they got down the stretch, but barely, and it took some heroics and some random plays to go against the Warriors, including that final Saddiq Bey 3. All right, before we call it a night, let's go ahead and hear a couple of minutes of Klay Thompson as he met with the media here inside Chase Center following a tough one for the Dubs in this one.
How frustrating was a loss like this? I mean, it looked like you guys, every chance you guys got to get close against Detroit, they would come back and nail a big shot after you guys would cut the lead to like 3 or 1.
Well, it never feels good. I thought we fought really, really hard tonight. I think the story, I mean, we fought very hard and gave ourselves a chance to win it. Bey made an incredible shot, so credit to him. But just a hard-fought, gutsy effort, and I'm really proud of every single man who played. 5 wins in a row at home. Hopefully we can bounce back Saturday and another one in a couple days after that. So we have a great opportunity to finish great on this last home stretch.
What do you think Jordan can learn from some of these late game situations where the burden is more on him than he's ever had before?
Well, I told him in the locker room, there's a reason I hit the ball towards the end of regulation is because he's like that. He's a clutch player. He's a shot creator, and we would not have been on this win streak without him. So I know that we all go through those lapses early in our career. I mean, I remember missing 2 free throws against the Nuggets when I'm my second year and just leaving the arena in my uniform. So it's like we all got to go through it. Steph went through it, and Jordan, we're going to continue to trust him with the ball in his hands because he's like an engine that makes us go.
Klay, how confused were you and everybody else when Draymond all of a sudden is gone from the game with about a minute plus to go coming out of that timeout?
Yeah, it was unfortunate because Draymond is such an important piece of what we do, but still could have had a chance to win. Yeah, sucked. He got kicked out, but it's not his fault we lost. Like, we had a great chance to win.
Klay, you guys sold out Chase Center again tonight, despite all what's going on with the weather outside. What are your thoughts on all the fans who braved that storm just to be here tonight?
I hope they get home safely. That's the most important, but they were great, this whole run, and I know they will continue to be. We appreciate their energy. They've helped us will us to wins this whole season, and there's a reason why our record's so great at home is because it's a reflection of the energy that we feed off from them.
Can you drive your boat through a storm like this?
I could, but that's just not ideal. Have you seen the perfect storm? It doesn't end well. So I'm not trying to do that, but she is a beast, but it's just too bumpy.
Obviously, development isn't linear, and for Jordan to kind of go through these growing pains that you mentioned you also went to early in your career, just how do you help a young guy get through this? He was obviously really disappointed in himself after that turnover with 6 seconds left.
You just tell him it's going to be all right and continue to work hard. And there's a reason he's an NBA champion. We would not have that banner without Jordan's efforts. So it's just about sticking to the process and working your absolute hardest, and the work will reveal itself. So I have no worries about Jordan. I think we're much better than our record reflects, and we're not even whole yet. So we have a lot of great basketball ahead of us. So it's not time to hang our heads.
You mentioned early in your career, walking home after a Nuggets loss. Do losses like this sting more, particularly regular season losses sting more early in careers?
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
Because you want to be so great every night, and you have a high expectation of yourself. I know Jordan does. I do as well. And you just expect to be great, even if it's, unrealistic to do for 82 games. You still want to be your best, and it never feels great when you go home after a game and you feel like you could have done this differently and could have helped us win. But that's just a part of being an athlete, is the ups and downs and embracing that journey.
Klay, do you feel like Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb kind of transform your bench and your offense, and just the spacing with the ability, they can shoot?
Yeah, they've been great. I mean, two-way players, incredible. Those guys are bona fide NBA players, and I give our front office credit. They just do such a great job of finding guys to plug in our system, and Anthony's ability to score tonight off the dribble, on the catch. Same with Ty, to get in the paint, facilitate. So they've been awesome, and they're going to play a huge role for us this year, and I'm just proud to be their teammate.
Klay, along those lines, I mean, a guy like Dante and these two-way players, months from now, can you look back maybe at this stretch and say those guys grew? They were thrown into the fire, and they no choice, and they did these things. And when you're in a playoff game later, and you can count on these guys even more so.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we're without 2 All-Stars. I mean, an MVP. Those guys have stepped up so much. Even PBJ tonight making big shots. Moses. Everyone's playing their role and getting better on the fly. To be so young and thrown on a defending champion team, and people expect you to be great. It's a big toll to take, and those guys are embracing it. And we're going to look back in a few months, and I know how important this stretch will be because we're above 500 finally, and I mean, might be only 5-6 games out of first, so we can make a run for it. I know we can, and this run was vital to that.
Are you starting to feel the effects, I guess, of so many guys being out? Like, in particular, on that last possession, probably who was on the floor wouldn't be who would typically be on the floor closing. So how do you handle like maybe communication lapses and things like that when you have so many different guys playing?
I don't feel that because we're all pros here and no one blames anybody else. We all take responsibility for how we play. And I play the same way every time I step on the court. I'm aggressive, I play my hardest, and I have fun with it. And I try to lead, especially when Steph's not out there, Andrew's not out there. I try to just lead by example. And we're building so much great chemistry right now. I know how it's going to pay off so greatly come a few months when it's really winning time.
Steve mentioned that fatigue from the last game going to double overtime might have rolled over to this one. With you playing so many minutes the last game and then playing however many you played tonight, I mean, did you feel tired out there? And just how does your body feel at this point in the season?
I feel incredible. I'm almost a year anniversary to when I came back in the NBA. So I couldn't be happier. And there might have been some fatigue factor, especially mentally when you go to a double OT. It's point in the season, not much rest time in between. But, you know, I'm glad. I'm super proud of the way everybody fought tonight. It wasn't pretty. They're right there to continue this win streak. Just got to start a new one.
All right, so a couple of quick thoughts on what Klay Thompson had to say, in particular about Jordan Poole. A couple of questions about Poole and the late game struggles and the turnovers. And I think the biggest quote there is Klay saying that he told him there's a reason he threw the ball to him because he's clutch, that he's a creator, and you don't win 5 in a row without him, and that's the case. I mean, Jordan Poole's been balling. Klay Thompson's been balling over these last couple of games. It's not always going to be perfect. The other part was just Klay saying that everybody goes through it, that he went through it, that Steph's gone through it, and everybody's got to go through it. And, dropping the knowledge on the game against Denver where he left right after the game in his clothes after missing a couple of free throws. And the Warriors wound up losing that game. And so it's tough, but you stick with it, you battle through it, and eventually you're better for it. And I think that's one thing that the Warriors can look at is all the different contributions that they've received from a lot of different unexpected players here during the 5-game winning streak, which came to an end tonight. And you start to project if potentially that can, you can have some of those players play a bigger role in key moments down the stretch. Because here's the thing. The Warriors have got to keep this thing rolling. Like, you're 20-19, you're feeling good about it, and Klay's feeling good about their ability to get on a run, thinking their record's better than it is. I think Steve Kerr at this point would say that. But you're going to need more contributions from everybody and more contributions from Jordan Poole after Steph and Wiggins come back, if this team's going to get to the ultimate goal, which I think in the regular season at least is ensuring that at a minimum you can avoid that play-in tournament. And the Warriors right now are only a game out of being able to do that. And when you look at being a game out, you also have to look at who are you chasing, and to look up and see Portland is one of the teams that's ahead of you, and Sacramento is one of the teams that's ahead of you, but Sacramento, one of those teams that's in the top 5. I mean, that's the spot. Like, the Kings are 20-17. That's the, which one of these is not like the other when you look at the top of the West. And that's not to say that the Kings won't be a play-in team. I think they probably will be, but that's a team that is not the 5th best team in the Western Conference, flat out. And that's the spot that you can go get. And I think the Warriors, if they can continue with this momentum and get healthier, that's the spot that ultimately they will get in the top 6 here in the West. All right, that'll do it for tonight. Appreciate the callers, appreciate the texters, appreciate everybody in our San Francisco studios, which of course is always led by the great Sterling Bennett here. Appreciate everybody watching as well on YouTube and Twitch on this rainy, windy evening in the Bay. That'll do it. Back on Saturday with Warriors This Week, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Join me and Whitey Gleason for that. And then we got one of the double days with the Warriors next in action against the Orlando Magic here on 95.7 The Game. 5:30 is the tip-off for that one. Warriors live at 4:30. Warriors and the Magic with the Dubs trying to get back on the winning track and finish this homestand with a couple of more wins to get to 7-1. We'll talk to you on Saturday. Tough one tonight. Pistons beat the Warriors 122-119, and you heard it right here on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Steiny and Guru host The Executive Show, a weekly interview with Bob Myers and Zaza Pachulia.
When we went to the Hamptons to meet with Kevin, we had a presentation, and I'm telling you guys the truth. The presentation, we stopped it 10 minutes in. Because if you know Kevin at all, Kevin was kind of looking around going, I don't need to see this stuff.
Brought to you by Yellow Sack. Try a dumpster bag for easy waste removal. Less mess, reduce stress. Budget friendly, clean freely. Call 833-3YELLOW or go to yellowsack.com.
Throughout the 60s and 70s, cops hunted down key figures of the Dixie Mafia, including its enigmatic ringleader, Kirksey Nix.
I'm interested in making money. I'm not interested in hurting people.
15 years into Kirksey's life sentence, the Dixie Mafia was practically folklore, but that would soon change. I'm Jed Lipinski. This is Gone South, a documentary podcast from C13 Originals, a Cadence 13 studio. Season 2, The Dixie Mafia. Available now on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So you've got an oil change coming up. Consider STP Conventional High Mileage to save on motor oil for your everyday vehicle. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP oil filter for only $26.99. Do the complete job for the right price. Get the parts you need when you need them at AutoZone or AutoZone.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-444-9336. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-444-9336. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life, call 800-444-9336.
Tune in to 95.7 The Game for Warriors Live, 60 minutes before tip-off of every Warriors game. Brought to you by Xfinity. Supercharge your home with supersonic Wi-Fi. Unbeatable internet, only from Xfinity.